Let's kick it off with a little trailer.
The roots don't lie, and neither do the results. It starts in the soil with a shovel check from Crop Aid Plus, and it ends in the canopy with foliar nutrition that fuels performance. Join us for Roots to Results, a boots-on-the-ground webinar revealing the full Crop Aid system. See real root samples. Hear from field pros like Darren Fischer and Darren Sanders. Learn how to spot stress and compaction and how to respond. Discover foliar tools that assist your crop fast and economically. Plus, get a sneak peek at a new product designed to take on salinity. It's not just talk, it's live. Wednesday, June 11th, 7 a.m. Saskatchewan time. Have the Crop Aid experts answer all your in-crop questions. Register now for Roots to Results.
Right on. Well, good morning. Welcome, everyone, to the Roots to Results webinar. Today we have two Darrens, double your Darrens from Crop Aid, the experts. And this is going to be a really fun one because not only are we going to talk about what's under the soil, but we're going to talk about the foliar side. And we have a little bit of a showcase of Darren Sander in the field from yesterday. Some fresh soil and fresh plants. We can take a look at him doing the classic tailgate Crop Aid shovel check they're famous for and learn what that's all about and what the Crop Aid differences are. But as well, we're going to have Darren Fischer walk us through the checklist that they use to really go in detail as to what they're looking at in the field. Then we can talk foliars, and at the end, if there's some time, we can talk a little bit about what they're coming out with to address salinity across the prairies, which we're super excited about. And stay tuned for a big launch around Ag in Motion for that product. So with that, I think we'll start off with a very quick video. It's a minute and a half. It'll frame a little bit of what we're going to be talking about here today. It shows Darren in the field near their farm at Sovereign, Saskatchewan, and Darren's out digging. And this is what they're known for and how they show the product efficacy and what they're going to be doing across the prairies with their clientele here shortly. So let's just take a quick look at this. This is a minute and a half. And then we'll let Fischer explain a little bit of what's under the hood there as far as the agronomic details.
Digging a crop aid treated field here. June 10th today. So we've set the two samples on the tailgate. The second one we dug with no crop aid. It's very hard. You can see the shale-like compaction layers in there. It's a little lighter color compared to the crop aid side, which is nice and crumbly. Darker color, more carbon in it. It's got a real nice smell to it, that peat moss smell. Holding quite a bit more moisture than the field with no crop aid. It's pretty typical heavy clay country. This was seeded a week or 10 days earlier than the crop aid field there. There's not near as much moisture and major compaction. Super hard.
So that gives you a nice little view of what the Crop Aid folks do in the field with clients. And I'm hoping that the participants this morning, the attendees, will chime in and ask some questions as we roll. And Fischer here is going to walk us through the checklist that they use in the field and give us a little bit of context. I want to send out a poll here, too, to get everybody's blood flowing. How many of you are doing these shovel checks? I wonder how many producers walk around with the shovel and take a look at what's under the hood in their soil. So I love that we're taking the time to focus on this and learn what's going on in the soil. Fisher, you've made a little bit of a checklist here to guide us through what we should be looking for in a little bit more detailed manner. Tell us what you're looking for, what results you usually see with crop aid, and why this is important.
Sure. So the checklist was created uh, out of we want to show the customers, that when they purchase crop aid, it is doing something. We've also heard quite a few times where a farmer will buy a product and either it sits in the shed or he uses it, nobody comes out, so he really doesn't know if it worked or not, and we just didn't want to do that. So we devised a checklist. And what we do is we give this to all of our distributors, and likely a few of their customers have it as well. So what it does, it just kind of walks you through um, the stages of the crop. So, you know, 7 to 14 days after seeding. So we'd be looking at what the seed products do in the soil, and then we go, 30 to 60 days after seeding and that kind of stuff. So anybody who uses seed product, the distributor will come out, especially the first year. I mean, we have to get out there and then show you guys, the product's working. So what we do is we go out there and I know a lot of you guys are seeding, so the distributors can take this checklist and they can check off what they see and then, send you pictures and everything else and just let you guys know that they've been out there. So usually, 7 to 14 days after seeding, I know the crop's just up, one leaf stage, maybe two. Uh, so we're looking for, that early germination. We do have a video on our website, I believe, that it does show the crop aid seed product. It's germinating. You can see the headlands. The crop is up out of the ground, and where the other untreated side isn't. So that's what we're kind of looking for. I mean, we're digging up. We're looking for quick germination, faster germination, get it out of that soil nice and quick to get it growing. A lot of times when we dig these up, we're finding, especially in cereals, the roots or the stems, they sometimes have a little bit of a brownish tinge to it, kind of a little bit of a slime on it. We don't want to see that. We want a nice white root. We're kind of looking at that. And also too, even at that early stage, even though that the crop is, just out of the ground in that one leaf stage, your roots can be, you know, 2 inches, 3 inches long, and that bacteria and that biology is starting to colonize around those roots even at that early stage. So we're looking for that because obviously, the quicker your bacteria can colonize around those roots, the quicker it can start feeding it nutrients. So that's what we're kind of looking for. A lot of times, I mean, even the cotyledon size is different. I know they do fall off quite quickly, but it's just these comparisons to show that the product's doing its job. A healthier plant's coming out of the ground, uh, better vigor. So, I mean, if we get some of those cold spells and that kind of stuff, I mean, they could tolerate that more. And then also too, insect damage at that early stage. We're kind of looking at that. In a lot of instances, I mean, we just don't get the insect damage even at that early stage, even though when that early plant is coming out of the soil, a lot of its functions are not going. It go like, building proteins and the proper sugars and that kind of stuff. Uh, it's not happening as of yet. It's happening later, but we can still show a lot of that stuff. And like I said, even though, the farmers out in the field seeding, the distributor can still go out, check all that kind of stuff and check off what they did check on that list, take a picture, and then, text it to your email to you. So, he's been in the field and you can kind of see what's going on. So those kind of the seed products. And again, I don't think a lot of companies do go out there and do this kind of checks to show that their seed product is working. And the seeds are better, healthier, more vigor. Uh, because again, in that first 30 days, it's very important to get these crops off to the best start we can.
Is
So then
this
what
more
we
of a
do,
check for the Seed Plus or the Crop Aid Plus, Darren?
this would be for the seed and the seed plus. Um, Even though we have sprayed on usually the crop aid plus, which is the biostimulant, this is more for the seed product. Even though that the crop aid plus is helping, it's been on for a week or two already. This is, good for the seed product, and this is, kind of an early thing. Later on, when we go out there, maybe 30 days, after seeding or 60 days after seeding, this is kind of when the whole program has kicked in. We've got that, 4 to 6 weeks after the first application, and now we have the whole program working, right? So we have the seed product, the seed and the seed plus doing its job. We've got that early start. We've got the, nice healthy roots. We have a better rhizosphere. And what happens below the soil is directly responsible for what's happening above the soil. Um, so after this 30 or 60 days, the distributor will be back out. It's pretty much mandatory. All of our guys do it, especially that first year and second year. So they come out, uh, shovel in hand, and they get the farmer with them. They'll contact the farmer and make schedule everything. So then they get out there and we're looking at the crop height. There's many times where, because we're getting more nutrients into the plant, uh, that compaction is reduced. More water infiltration. There is a crop height difference. you know, Crop color. A lot of times, because our plants are less stressed, they're like a nicer color. Yes, less yellowing, which could be a stress of some sort. We also look at leaf size, larger leaves, more photosynthesis. That's what drives the plant, right? And we'll also look at everything. The stem length and the stem thickness. We look for disease. um, we also look at lower leaves, upper leaves, because if we have a yellowing or a lightening of those, that's a nutrient deficiency. Uh, we know which ones those are. Even going on, even into flowering, we've had guys say that crop eight side flowers first. Healthier plant, of course. Flag leaf, we have many times we have lots of pictures of the flag leaves, bigger, larger, healthier. And Darren Sander, he promotes this and he talks about it all the time. You know, that those barbs on that flag leaf, on the untreated side, if you run that across your tongue, it's really barb and it sticks in, it's rough. But on the crop aid side, if you run that flag leaf across your tongue, it's smooth. It's that nice waxy coating on there, and that's a protection, right? So all these signs we're looking for when we go out to show that your plants are healthier, they're stronger, there's less stress, and it's just an overall better crop. So, and in return, if a healthier, better crop should equal to yield. Um, so kind of we're doing that as we're doing, and then we start really digging in the soil. So as Darren was in that video, taking that soil and flipping it on the tailgate, so we could get your hands in there and you can visually see things. Um, we have pictures where the trash on top of the soil is significantly reduced. That bacteria is breaking it down, recycling those nutrients, and that's kind of what we want. We don't want trash to be seen like in the soil from 3, 4, 5 years ago. If you're seeing trash from 5 years ago, it's not being broke down. So that's a good indication that your soil is kind of unhealthy and it's a low bacteria, so it can't break that down. So we're looking for that. The soil smell, that peat moss smell, that's life. I mean, that's everything in soil. That's glumalin from the fungi. That's all the earthworms. Like they're excreting their stuff, all the bacteria, organic acids. That's healthy soil. And it's very shocking when you out in a field and you take that soil and you tell the farmer to smell it, and he looks at you like you're you're kind of weird. But and he's like, "Why am I smelling soil?" And it's like, "Well, smell the control side, and it's got no smell. It's a dead smell. There's nothing there." And then also on the crop aid side, and also, well, oh, there's that smell of soil. And I can remember as a kid when Dad was out working, there was that smell of soil, right? And you just don't get that anymore. But I tell you, go out there and you smell that soil and you smell it, and that's just life. So that's a very positive thing. And a lot of times when we have that increased bacteria, they want more moisture. That's the way they move in the soil. So a lot of times, there's more moisture, and you can physically feel that in the soil. I was out in Lethbridge last week, and in the soil, they had some rain, but you could physically feel the soil was cooler and it was wetter. And we dug 50 yards apart. The farmer was like, this is crazy. He says, I can physically feel the more moisture in the soil. Um, the hard pan of compaction. When you're digging in that soil, a lot of guys don't realize this. When they put it on the tailgate, the soil is rock hard, just like in the video. You can bang that on the tailgate all you want, and it's not going to break up. So when we think about that hard soil, think about the rain. When we get these hard, heavy rains, if it can't soak in, where is it going? And on a year like this, when we haven't had a lot of rain in some places, we need that rain to soak in. So to physically show that, look at our crop aid side is more mallow. It's looser. this water can soak in and soak in deep. I mean, it's a game changer, really. I mean, when you can get your soil like that, and especially on a year like this, when you get a half inch of rain in a half an hour, you don't want that in a low spot. You want that in the root zone. Um, so we're checking for that. The aggregation, like we all want that crumb. I mean, that crumb-like soil, right? So when you break it up, it's in those little crumbs, and that's the function of the mycorrhiza fungi, and that's good soil structure. So you know that they're at work. Uh, Good roots. A lot of times we look at even canola and I mean even cereals. I mean they go down and they hit that hard pan and they just flatten out and they go sideways. We don't want that because what happens is when we have that shallow root zone and we do get rain, well, that rain's going to be living, it's going to soak into that top 3 inches. And then if it gets hot, dry, and windy, all of a sudden, all that moisture's gone really quick, right? So we're looking for those roots to be able to go down deep to get that water down deep, right? Even the color of the roots, we're seeing a lot whiter roots, nice, healthier roots. And I mean, even as we're walking in fields, I mean, that we've been after heavy rain. We have also have video on this of, I think it's, I believe on Darren's farm. They had a really heavy rain, standing on the field video on one side, there's very little water in the field. It's soaking in. And on the other side, it's pooling like crazy. And we've also seen that in the field as well when we're doing crop checks. The farmer, we're standing there, it's a day or two after heavy rain. He's going, well, we should be standing in water. So all these things that we check for when we're out in the field, like, I mean, even soil texture. Um, so when we're out in the field and when we actually have the shovel with the farmer going through all this checklist, I mean, he can see like, holy, like my soil is improving. Um, we've dug, we usually, split a field and we're digging 25, 20 yards on one side of the line and 20 yards on the other. So they're seeing this firsthand that the product is working like we've told them it was. And that's kind of sometimes what's missing out there is just this, this interaction with the farmer. Um, so all of our distributors have this. Um, I mean, if you have a distributor, talk to him and he can get you a copy and you can do this yourself. But this is kind of what we go through, so we make sure that everything's checked off and we've checked everything with the farmer. And so when we leave, you've seen the product work, you know that someone's been out and your dollar's been well spent.
That's an incredible overview. Very fascinating stuff. So that's all the results that we see, Fisher. But just to zoom out and back up for anybody who doesn't know on the call, how is the product doing that? What is it doing?
So the product is a biostimulant. So we can't confuse that with a biological because we have nothing living in the product. Uh, in the manufacturing process, there is no bacteria, nothing added. So it's a pure biostimulant. Um, so over time, what's happening with our fertilizers, we're getting some high rates of fertilizers, these chemicals, and what's happening is this soil is becoming it's just farming. I mean, we can't avoid it when we're looking for a high production, high yielding crops. I mean, that's our goal, right? So the downside is, I mean, we're getting a low bacterial population in the soil, lower fungi levels in the soil, and this is kind of the snowball effect, right? So what our product does, the Crop Aid Plus and the Crop Aid Seed products, it stimulates that bacteria to grow and expand, and I believe in the one study they applied it to the soil, and in 14 days, it increased the soil bacteria by like 325 times. So when we get this increase of bacteria, we start to mineralize all the fertilizer more. We start to break down all the trash in the soil more. And then also too, when we have an anaerobic soil or a compacted soil, we have to have a balance in the soil. There's always bad bacteria and there's good bacteria. Uh, there's bacteria that lives in anaerobic, and there's bacteria that move in between both. And we want that healthy predator-prey relationship in the soil. It has to be balanced. Uh, so, because if one gets out of balance, I mean, things go backwards in the soil as well. And mycorrhiza fungi, I mean, what we're doing to that is, I mean, we're having low numbers in those as well, and we need a high percentage in your soil of mycorrhiza fungi because those are responsible for soil structure. Those are the ones that take out those hard compacted soil particles and glue them together into those soil crumbs that we see. So that's what the product does. It just increases the soil bacteria and the soil fungi in the soil to high levels so it works properly.
It's amazing to me that these little bugs could do all that in the soil, and they do it basically for free once you tell them to get going with the right trigger, as you put it. We had a little poll. Have you ever done a shovel check? And 23% said yes, regularly. Regularly shovel check. 36% said a few times. 27% said not yet, but they are planning to. So that's positive. And 14% said nope. I let my boots do the scouting. And guess what? Nobody said that they can't afford a shovel. So I'm grateful for that. That we're all have the means here, and with all of our wonderful quality of life here in North America, we've all got shovels. So we did have a question, uh, and maybe Darren Sander, you can answer this because you'd be the expert on your own fields. How many years had that field had crop aid applied to get the soil like that?
Hi. So that was year 9 on that field, and across the dirt road, it's never been treated. But that soil hasn't really changed much since year 2 or 3 that we applied the product. It's just been in a maintenance mode. And those kind of results, what we've seen there on the video today, often we see in first year or for sure second year of using our product. But that's not uncommon to see first year. So guys would have put it down with a pre-burn, maybe 1st of May or a bit earlier. And if we go out and do a crop check end of June, first week in July, we expect to see that drastic of results on year 1 using the Crop Aid Plus. It works extremely fast. Taking that compaction layer out, like Darren was saying, it's the role of the biology to have loose aerated soil so they can flourish. So the mycorrhizal fungi, it's their job to build soil structure, and they do it very fast.
Nice. Does anybody have any comments about Darren's jersey? I mean, the playoffs are going on. He's wanted to represent. If you have any hockey comments that you want either one of the Darrens to comment on, please put it in the chat, or questions about Crop A Plus. So, Darren, before we'll maybe take a look at you in the field here again yesterday. This is very real world. We were going to bring some soil and plants into the studio, but this is probably just as good or better. But it really illustrates how visceral the difference is, and I'm really excited to go see this. And I know Kale was walking on some soil for treated and untreated the other day, and he said it was soft compared to hard. And I did see Bigfoot running on the hard soil there the other day, and his feet were hurting. So um, we feel sympathy for him. But Darren, did you have anything to add to the crop check list before we look at you in the field again, or anything that came up when Fischer was doing his awesome explanation there?
No, I think he covered it pretty well. Our videos here are very early season, so we're not, able to look at, flag leaf early heading right now, obviously, being in June, but focusing on the soil in these videos today. But it's very evident in the plants too when we dig them. It's night and day when we throw them on the tailgate and lay them beside each other. And for me, it's very important that our customers and farmers that are using our products see these results in their own fields on their own soil. It's one thing to look at my fields here or whatever, or see some data, but when we pull up and hand you the spade and you dig your own soil and plants and we throw them on the tailgate and go through it, like Darren just explained, and it's your soil, your plants. This is happening. You just applied it, 40 days ago or 30 days ago, and you're like, how can it change that fast using that little amount of product? And that's really the fun part of the job, is doing the crop checks and seeing the reactions of the customers that are using the product. And they're not spending a whole lot of money on our program. They're getting fantastic results really quick. It's not a 4-year program, it's a 4-week program. And we really want to emphasize that. It's year 1, you're getting drastic results in 4 to 5 weeks.
And
Instant gratification. Go ahead, Fisher.
one thing I want to add to Darren's soil, it's a very heavy clay soil. I mean, sometimes it's hard to tell on a video, but it's a really heavy clay soil. It's high in calcium and high in magnesium. I mean, it's quite sticky when you're walking through when it's wet. So to have that soil like it is, that you grab it in your hand and it crumbles, is actually really quite amazing for the soil that is. I mean, neighbor soils, we're out there all the time. And I mean, you go out there in the fall, going to the neighbors, and I mean, there's huge cracks in the soil. I mean, to the point where your phone rings, just let it go to voicemail because if you take it out of your pocket and drop it and goes in a crack, it's gone. I mean, so for that soil to be that way, I mean, a lot of guys we just can't see that on the video, like what kind of soil it is, but it's heavy, heavy clay. So to be able to take it I mean, we've done this in the springtime too. You know, May 1st, go out there and just you can grab with your hand and it just crumbles, and it's just a beautiful soil for being that that heavy clay, high calcium, high magnesium soil. It's quite impressive.
Well, that brings up something I wanted to ask you two about, that's maybe timely to everything that's going on in Western Canada today with cropping. But I did put it out there in a poll. I'd appreciate your participation. What is the biggest problem that you're seeing with your particular soils out there? Is it salinity? Is it compaction? Is it water ponding? I don't know what some of the other issues that you might be wanting to address based on what you've seen there. But please contribute to that poll. And then yeah, we're gonna play a little bit of more of Darren in the field. But I did want to ask both of you, and it plays into the foliar part, and maybe we're getting ahead of ourselves here. We know a lot of Western Canada is really dry right now. So where do these products and where does practice service system, crop aid system fit in when you are lacking moisture? Fisher, do you want to give her a crack at that one?
Well, sure. So when we're dry, we need moisture, right, to have this soil solution, get this fertilizer and soil solution to break it down, and we also need soil solution in the soil, right, for the microbiology, um, for nutrients to move up and down through the soil. And when it's dry like this, we just don't have it. So your plants are kind of going into kind of a pause mode right now. I mean, we're waiting for rain. So when they're pausing like this, I mean, they're really not taking in any nutrients, right? So uh, when we put the crop aid plus the crop aid program, like we've seen in Darren's soil, I mean, we're holding on to more moisture, right? And that's what plants need, or moisture. We don't need dryness because they start going backwards. So we need to hold that moisture. Uh, with that more, the darker soil, the more moisture, the higher biology, we're still feeding those plants nutrients. Uh, we've heard so many times, these crops right now, because of the lack of the rain, some of them are starting to discolor. They're not moving. They're just sitting there, and actually, some guys have said if they don't get a rain in, next 4 or 5 days, they're kind of done. So anytime that we can put a soil health program like crop aid in place and keep more moisture in that soil, your plants are going to do better and longer. And then with the foliar fertilizer, like I said, I mean these plants are just in a pause mode right now. They're really not taking up much nutrients. So when you apply nutrients to them, you're kind of feeding them and keeping them healthy and keeping them topped up. So when we do get this rain, they're just going to take off, right? So it's very important to have a good soil health program, and even the foliar fertilizers. You may think that's backwards, right? While it's dry, why am I applying a foliar? Because your plants still need to be healthy, right? And they still need to be topped up in all your nutrients uh, to stay healthy and reduce the stress. So when we do get that rain, they take off, right? And they're healthy. There's no disease issues, and they just move right along. So it's very important, these programs.
Yeah, that's good thinking for people that are struggling with moisture. Our hearts go out to those
Yep.
folks that are, they got crops that, a week away from not having a rain. It's a challenge and a risk in farming, unfortunately. But we can see here by this word map um, that compaction is likely the biggest, the most common one that came up 7 times. Salinity is an issue. I wonder a little bit about topography too. I'm sure this product helps on low organic matter, sandier um, hilltops and stuff like that. Water
Yeah,
infiltration, ponding.
absolutely.
Yeah, go ahead,
So
Darren.
one of the bigger comments we get is guys are saying how the fields look so even, even if it's rolly land, it's as good in the low spots as the high spots and everything's up even like a pool table. So that's a fairly common comment, especially from first year customers. But I just want to reiterate the importance of a soil health program. When you get the biggest ROI out of a soil health program or even foliar fertilizers is when there is a stressful conditions. If everything is perfect, we got a Cinderella year, good fertility, good moisture, it's a lot harder to get an ROI out of anything you add to a crop. Even extra fertilizer doesn't make a difference when we do those kind of trials. But we don't farm in that kind of world. Usually we got some kind of a problem going on every year. This year we're on the dry side again.
Right.
And it's a program like this that's really like an insurance program. When you have loose aerated soil, it's holding more moisture. The roots are going down so that they can get into that still moisture from the snow melt. Those crops are just skating right through this dry spell right now. They're not stressed. Uh, and other crops that are in that hard soil, like we just seen on the tailgate of the truck, they're in trouble. You know, those roots are not going down through that concrete-like soil. They're living in the top 2 inches where the drill has slid across. They've got that compaction layer, and that's the end of it. And even if we do get a big dumper thunder shower, it's going to hit that compaction layer and run to the low spots. Where on that crop aid side, it's going to soak right down a foot in the soil, and we're gonna have more insurance program there. We're going to hang on to all that water. So it's super important to understand that, you know, the years you get the biggest ROI, make the most money, most yield, most bushels, is when you have stressor conditions. And I think we're heading in for one of those years where the rains look like they're pretty spotty, and the wind and the heat is certainly in the forecast.
Interesting perspective where I think most of the time we're thinking, well, if it rains and we have good prospects, we'll continue to invest in the crop. But sometimes this might help us the most in challenging conditions. And you sent out in the group chat some interesting photos as well, Darren, last night where we could see that compaction was causing dead spots where
You
quite a
know,
bit
it's
heavy
really
rain going.
interesting. I mean, this is from the road, so you can see last year's grain cart tracks and combine tracks and truck traffic, and some of the stuff's from this spring, the sprayer tracks there from pre-burn. Um, but when you go up in an airplane, my neighbor takes me up in his Cessna and we fly over these fields, and you would not believe the reduced canopy from compaction and tracks. I mean, it's just yield limiting, bringing down the whole average of the field. Now, this fit picture right here is one of mine. There's zero tracks in it. Those other ones we just looked at were right beside me for guys not using the crop aid. And when you fly up in the air, all those spots, you know, there's no yield coming from them, and they're all over the field. If it's 10% or more of traffic tracks that aren't putting out much yield, that affects the bottom line big time. And you can really see that. And even in later season, say July, when that canola's blooming, you can fly over it and you can just see tracks all over the field. You can see where the grain carts turned last year and pulled out from the combine with a full load. And then neighbors or my fields or whoever's got a good soil health program going, there's just no tracks. It's nice and even. And I mean, it's yield, right? And when you start seeing those tracks, I mean, it's common, it's everywhere, and it's not just in Saskatchewan or Alberta, it's worldwide. Countries I go to, it's compaction is the number one issue wherever we go. It's just yield limiting. And if we start looking at some countries, even like India, if you look at their production numbers over the last decade, they're declining. That soil is just done. There's just no life in it. So it's a huge issue everywhere, and I see it even our great land in Saskatchewan, and which isn't that old yet, but we're starting to see some big problems show up with salinity and compaction everywhere.
Well, I was wondering what the net drag on margins would be in areas of a field where you're applying all of your inputs. You're applying 100% of the inputs, but essentially in these dead spots, you're not getting anything. And I know, Terry, you've done some of the math on there. I might put you on the spot just for fun, but he might not be listening. He might be doing something else. But Terry, you've done some math on areas of the farm that aren't productive and what the net drag on margins are. Could you speak to that briefly? He might.
Yeah,
Go
can you
ahead.
hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah, so in some of those poor areas or saline areas, we've kind of shown over time that, yeah, you have a negative margin when you count all of your costs in. So either you need to find ways to improve that, or in some cases where it's more severe, you can't deal with the water issue. You know, we've planted them down to to hay or an alternative crop that produces well or better in those areas. So yeah, there's definitely some of those areas that if you just continue to farm them as is, you're actually losing money in those spots every year. So
Just one more thing, in farming. Okay, thanks, Terry. I appreciate that. I know you had done some math on that, and um, so I'm just going to share now. You guys can see this in the field with Darren Sandert again. And again, if you guys have any questions, we're going to kind of wrap up this segment here shortly. But and then get into foliars briefly, and then give you a sneak peek on the Salinity product. But make sure if you got any questions about it,
Standing in the
let us
same
know.
location. We've done a few videos over the years. There's my yard in the background. So we have canola seeded into durum stubble on the crop aid field. This is a low spot as we've seen in the past, but it all soaked in and we were able to seed right through it. Here's the seeding line and the field beside it. Also canola seeded similar date, and their low spot. Held water for quite a while, so it's still not seeded. I had to seed around it. So we're just going to walk ahead here in a sec and dig some soil and plants and have a look and see what the difference is. All right, we've walked in a fair ways to get past the low spot, and we're going to dig off the seeding line, which is right in front of me here. I'm going to hand the phone to my trusty helper, Steve.
This is interesting when you put the shovel in the ground, how hard it is compared to the crop aid side.
Well, I guess it doesn't matter where.
Takes a little torque to get in there.
Rain here 3 days ago, so we'll see what the difference is.
So when you're doing the crop check, you want to make sure you're far enough away from the treated side that you're in virgin soil, so to speak, because it's like a 30-foot buffer zone for the biology, you said, hey?
Yeah, it does move over during the season for sure.
It's a lot easier to dig over here. Look at that, right down to the nice and wet. Okay, we'll just grab both samples and head to the tailgate. Okay, at the tailgate, as you can see, we've just walked in from the two fields where we dug. And this is the crop aids side here. Again, just look at that. Breaks right apart, nice and crumbly. You can see all the aggregates, nice dark color. It's got good moisture in it, making a mud ball. It's got a real nice peat moss smell to it, which is the living component of the soil, all the bugs and exudates. And over here, on the other side, we went in about 30 feet on each side off the seeding line. Nice shiny, typical hard soil. So again, this had the half-inch rain on it 3 days ago. It does break apart, but you can really see the compaction, fine particles, all the shale-like layers in there of compaction. There's a guy trying to rip down through that. If we compare this to our treated soil, this is nice.
She was a little windy yesterday.
Yeah, windy and smoky.
Lots of moisture. Rain's going to soak into this a lot easier than
Wind can stop anytime now.
see how shiny that is. There's no oxygen in there. It's tough and
yeah, hard for moisture and oxygen to get through there, and nutrients to move
Usually
there
this is when you'll
through
see
there,
the
and
difference
roots.
start. Aren't as great as when we start to dry out end of June or July. So right after a fairly big rain, that's a big difference. I've got my helper Steve with me today. He's the first time on a crop check. Steve, what do you think the difference between these two piles of soil?
It's like that nice center of the cinnamon bun, that gooey dough, yum.
And on our left, the non-crop aid.
Very technical terms there. Cinnamon,
What's
gooey
it?
like a cinnamon bun.
Yep, old-fashioned, hard, dry.
That is pretty cool. I can't wait to put the shovel in the ground and see that myself. Fisher, did you have any more comments on the whole crop check thing?
Actually, now Darren, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Darren shot a video 3, 4, 5 years ago on that was the same field I think with the lentils. And that video is on our website, and you can go look. And on the crop aid side, the lentils are lush, beautiful crop. And on that side where Darren dug just in the video, that field is completely taken by phenomyces, and you can tell because that same elevator is in both the videos. So if you want, I mean, you can go to our website and check that out too, and it's the same field. So I mean, this is what you get over year after year after year of using the crop aid products. I mean, I mean, you can see it. So
Where is that on the website here?
it should be under videos.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we shoot from the same spot all the time so that we can see different results in different crops,
no,
different years, depending what the stressor is.
keep going down, Dan.
Okay,
Right, should be right there, right
Yep,
at the end. Yeah, right
left.
there.
Yep.
Yeah,
field
that'll be the
comparison.
same field. It's pretty impressive.
Okay, go check that out, folks.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do another quick poll here on foliars. So let's just pop the clutch on foliars here briefly. We're coming in to the top of the hour, hot at about 17 minutes left here, and we do want to put in a quick note about the Salinity product that's going to be debuting this summer. But foliars, Fisher, why don't you take it away? And you have a couple products to address.
Yeah, so first of all, I mean, with our foliars, foliars are an excellent thing to do, and you should be, in my opinion, you should be using it all the time. They're so good in helping safe and herbicides. They're helping keeping that plant topped up with nutrients. An unbalanced plant or a plant that's lacking nutrients. So what they do is they try to pull nutrients from the soil, and with nutrients, they want to pull up some water as well. Uh, so now's the time to be using it, and all times as well. So and we do have the two products we make is the Crop Aid Rebound, which is a 71305, and it has sulfur. It's got nitrogen, phosphorus, manganese, iron, boron, molybdenum, zinc, and copper. So a little bit of a higher end, higher FOS blend. And then our other product we have is Crop Aid React. So that's a 43610. So we got potassium in there, we got sulfur in there, we got a little bit lower N and P, and we have more micros in there as well. So in some cases, they're almost double, maybe even a little bit more than the rebound. So again, we have manganese, boron, molybdenum, zinc, and copper. So these are two excellent ones. We only have two. We've heard other farmers in the past say with other companies, great companies, they just have a lot of products and they really don't sure what to choose from. We make it simple. And also what Darren has done is he has put in amino acids into the product, which a lot of other products don't have. I don't even know if any product has amino acids in there. So amino acids are great. So they help boost photosynthesis in the plant, producing more carbon to feed the biology, making a healthier plant. There's also a mild biostimulant. I mean, on the plants we have, it's all covered by bacteria, right? So it's a biostimulant. It helps with stress, which our plants are going through now. Um, a lot of times, when we spray the amino acids on, it just boosts the plant. Also, amino acids in a plant, the plant converts nitrogen as it takes it into amino acids. So we already have amino acids in the foliar, so the plant doesn't have to take that energy from the growing or producing the head or the seed to do that function because we've already got it. So our foliars are are excellent, and actually they are very economical in cost compared to some on the market. And most of our guys use it all the time. And like I say, great products. And maybe Darren can add more to that.
Yep, sure. I just want to throw in, no matter whose foliar fertilizers you're using, the one thing to be aware of, it's all about timing. So it depends what you're after. So if we're talking cereals and you're after yield, 3 to 5 leaf stage, when the plant is deciding how many rows of kernels to put on the head, that dictates yield. After that stage, we're not affecting yield with a foliar fertilizer. So if you want to build extra rows, extra kernels, it's the 3 to 5 leaf stage when you're spraying your first herbicide pass. That's when you're going to affect yield. On a canola plant, it's when it's bolting. And we have found over hundreds of trials that when it's in full cabbage stage and shooting up the first bolt, but doesn't have the yellow flower on yet, I know that's a small window, that's when we affect yield the most on a canola plant. After that, so flag leaf, early heading, once we're into the blooming stage of canola, 30, 40, 50%, now we're affecting grain quality, plumpness, grade, oil content, protein content. So it depends what you're after. It's all about timing with foliar fertilizers. And of course, like Darren mentioned, different foliars are better or not so good as safeners with herbicides. So our crop aid rebound with the high phos, which is high energy, and the amino acids is fantastic crop safener. A lot of guys will use it at a half rate, so a half liter with their granular Sencor or Vipers or other chemicals that are hard on the plants. A lot of guys using it with Roundup Ready canola because they find when they hit that crop with the glyphosate, it kind of stalls out for a week or 10 days. When we add the rebound to it, it just skates right off. As soon as you hit it with a sprayer, it actually takes off with that extra nutrition. So just fantastic economical solutions there. And again, like I said before, foliars like a soil health program really pay off as far as ROI in stressful conditions. So right now, if you're having some water stress issues, these are the years and the times when foliars really give you an ROI, not on the years where it's plenty of rain and everything looks good. And that tends to be the years when guys spend a little extra money and put foliars on. It's actually opposite. When we're having a tough time, that's when the foliar should go on to help assist that plant get through those times. And again, another big stressor is hail, right? So if we have a hailstorm, as soon as you can get on, you go on with that crop aid rebound. That's why we named it that. It's just fantastic after a hailstorm. That high phos, high energy helps heal up that plant quick so it doesn't get diseased and carries on with the rebuilding process and building seed and helping the harvest. So yeah, really good tools in tough times.
Lots of great points there. Go ahead, Fisher.
And also too, our foliars not only at herbicide time, we can use them pesticides. So we have, I mean, if you have flea beetles, right, we're out spraying. So if you think of those little plants, right, they've been chewed on, they've been eaten at, they're being stressed. So if you can put on even a half rate of the rebound or full rate, spray it on those little wee tiny plants, they're going to heal up faster, and they're going to get growing out of that faster as well. So I mean, it's going to heal and they're going to rebound out of that stressful. Even at fungicide time is a great time to put on a foliar as well. And also too, foliars do last about 3 weeks. So by the time you apply them, by the time they get into the plant and be translocated throughout the plant till the nutrients are really not in the plant anymore, it's about 3 weeks. So it's not, you don't get just that little wee tiny burst. You get a good period of time with a foliar. So many of our guys are going, on at herbicide time, and then they may be going on a fungicide time just to keep that plant, all those nutrients, in that good zone where the plant likes to be in.
We had a question here from Arthur Ward. Are there any tank mixing issues with Crop Aid Plus or either of the foliar products?
Not really, no. That's one thing that we work on every year, especially with the Crop Aid Plus being a lignin-based product. The goal is to be able to tank mix with every product under the sun in every condition, even off-label with every type of water. So that's something no other company is doing to try and mix with absolutely everything. And like this year, we had no phone calls. It's working fantastic. We do have instructions on the every jug, every tote, because we do treat mixing orders a little differently with dry flowables versus other chemicals. So if you follow the instructions or ask your rep for some help, there's no issues whatsoever with any of our products mixing. And the foliars especially are really bulletproof. They'll go with anything. So
That's part of the
And
manufacturing magic is getting all these key ingredients to work together with all these different tank mixes because it's a jungle out there. Fisher?
yes, so also too, when you're talking about using the crop aid, if you're talking to one of us at a trade show, or if you phone the number or you talk to one of our distributors, what they will do is they will walk through with you proper mixing procedures. Water is a huge one. I mean, we have all different kinds of waters. You know, your bicarbonates make a difference. Your TDS makes a difference. Your pH makes a difference. So we will ask lots of questions, and we will make sure that you're okay. You know how to mix the product. You use the proper mixing procedures. We do have the citric acid as a water conditioner. That helps. Lots of guys have foaming issues they're not really aware of. We can help with that. So all of our guys with crop aid, when you purchase crop aid, we will walk through with you so that everything works fine. It's all 100%. There's no issues. There's no downtime, and you're out spraying when you want, and everything is good.
We tested the water at the farm, and
Yep.
that was a great part of the service that was provided. So interesting question here from Jackson D. Thanks for chiming in. My retail agronomist is excellent, but she doesn't support me using any of these products. How can I address that? Who wants to take that one?
Oh, I can. Um, well, fortunately, it's your farm.
Fair.
I'll just say it the way it is. You know, it's your farm, and it's your bottom line, and it's your farm and your family that's making money off that farm. So if you want to use these products, you should be able to just to use them without question. And then include your agronomist. My number is out there. Thousands of people have it. Your agronomists can phone me. We can work together. I can work with them. Um, you know, and maybe she just has questions and she doesn't want to call or whatever. But I will come out. I can sit with you, or the distributor will sit with you and your agronomist and go over this. Um, because really what we do is with crop aid, everything is science based, right? So we have the science to back up the products. We have the science for the bacteria and the biology. Like the bacteria and the biologies, I mean, 100 years ago we knew this. 200 years ago we knew this. Foliar fertilizers, ever since the 1950s, we know that it goes into plants. So we can just sit down and we can talk with her. But at the end of the day, like I tell all the guys, I mean, it is your farm. And I mean, if you want to use these products to, you know, make more money, uh, you know, it's not about reducing inputs, right? Sometimes we actually increase inputs, and maybe that's what she's afraid of. You know, we're going to tell them, you know, you have to cut fertilizer, or you don't need fungicides, and that's not our job. That's her job, right? So we just take care of the soil and make everything better. So we'll work together. So just contact your agronomist and set up a meeting. I'll definitely come out, or our distributor will come out and sit down with everybody and make sure everybody's on the same page.
yeah, I'll just chime in a little bit there. I'm a farmer myself and I own crop aid, so I guess I get to see things from both sides of the fence. And I understand fully as a customer the hesitation using soil health products because there's been so much snake oil sold in the past. A lot of guys have been burnt, and it's the agronomist's job to protect their customer as the farmer. So that's a common problem is the hesitation to use these types of products. And it's a common question at a trade show when there's 20 booths in a row of soil health products. I mean, what's the difference? Why should we use crop aid? What's the difference between the other 19 booths? Uh, and that's where, we come out and talk to you and we can explain that crop aid is 100% totally different than anything that's on the market. The ingredients we use, the concepts we use, the focus on compaction, which is the number one problem on the farm, which no one else is doing. There's key differences. And what we say to anyone that wants to try and use crop aid, it's common sense approach. Whatever you're comfortable with. Doesn't matter to me if you split a half section or 10,000 acres. You're still going to get the same service. We're going to come out there, show it working on your farm. It helps all the other inputs that you're spending money. It helps with the nutrient cycling. So we build an insurance program in there with soil health to protect your highest cost on the farm, which is your fertilizer bill. We want to prevent leaching and soil tie-up. We want to get that nutrient cycling going so that you get the biggest bang out of that investment. Your herbicides. When you have a healthy weed growing in healthy soil, it absorbs the spray you put on and it dies dead. If we have weeds struggling in tight, compacted soil, they only take in part of what we spray on. They're struggling, we get a half kill, and over time we get herbicide resistance. Maximizing water use efficiency, whether you're irrigating or relying on a thunder shower, we need that water to go into the soil, not running off to the low spots, carrying salt and creating saline problems. So it's all connected. It's just raises that whole farming system to the next level and gets a better efficacy out of everything we're doing on the farm. And when we have agronomists that are hesitant, it's usually because they don't quite understand why our product is totally different than anything else on the market. And all we ask is for the opportunity to talk to them, have them come out when we're doing the soil checks, let them dig the soil, explain everything that's going on and why it's going on. And if they want to get really technical, we've got a binder 4 inches thick of all the science-based reasons why these ingredients work and work together and do what they do. So it is a challenge and it's an education process now to build the trust back in the market that, hey, there is finally a product that's manufactured locally from a farmer-based point of view that actually works.
Wow, that Oilers jersey's really got you fired up this morning, Darren.
I'm
Just
doing the best I can.
elbows
I got
out.
the C on.
Right on. I love it. Okay, well, let's bring it home. We got 3 minutes left. We want to give the elevator pitch on something that's happening here this summer. Very, very exciting. A brand new product from Crop Aid that's going to address one of the worst scourges of humanity in terms of farming, salinity. Fisher, you want
Yeah.
to give your
Oh,
elevator pitch here? And then we'll let Darren wrap it up, Darren Sander wrap it up and bring it home. You got 3 minutes.
So basically, in the past, a lot of people have tried to address salinity as a compaction issue, and that's maybe that's why they have failed. So at Crop Aid, what we've done is we understand this is a water issue, so we've made a product to address that. So when we spray our product that will be launched here pretty soon on the saline areas, it helps reduce the water rising in the soil and bringing up those salts. We've had it on I don't know how many farms, thousands of acres, and all positive results. And it's working. Actually, it's working amazing. And it's a program. It's a crop aid program, and we can go all over that. But I'll tell you, in the 3 years we've been testing this product, every single farmer has come back with positive results. We've regained one farmer 600 acres back. We have crops growing where it's never grown before. So it's exciting, and I don't think there's nothing on the market like this.
Well said. Mr.
yeah,
Sander, bring her home.
I'll just throw in a little bit of, the saline spots where we're getting the runoff from the fields and having those pressure areas where it's just shiny black now are starting to turn white and nothing's growing. The water is not percolating down through those spots and taking the salts away. So this product is not a biological or a soil health product. It's a chemistry, it's a chemistry problem in the soil. So we're breaking the surface tension of the water. We are neutralizing the bond between water and soil. That water is draining, it's taking the salts with it, and the crops are growing. I mean, it's really that simple. We can get more technical, but spots that haven't are shiny black and haven't grown anything in 20 years and have a ring of kosher on the edge, we're getting germination right through those spots on year one. And no, it's not as good as the rest of the field, but by year two, year three, you can't even see where most of those spots were. It's fantastic. So, like Darren said, there is nothing like this on the market. It's brand new technology and it cost effective. Spot spray it in the fall, super easy.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome to go out there and address some of those spots this fall and
And
see
we're
what
gonna,
works.
yeah, we're gonna have the huge launch at Ag in Motion with a big tent with beverages in it and some good information.
Yeah, we're going to be doing a webinar a week before, and there's going to be billboards at the show. There's going to be exclusive spaces to rub shoulders with the crop aid experts and learn more about the product. And so we'll definitely see you there. So Thanks everybody for your attendance. I put it in the poll there. If you wanted some follow up from someone from the Crop Aid team, we can certainly do that. And we appreciate your time. We know it's precious this time of year. If you have any questions, you can reach out to Crop Aid or to Aberhart Ag, and we can help you get lined up with whoever's most appropriate to get these products working for you on your farm. So good luck, everybody. Stay safe out there. Pray for rain, and good luck until we see you. I'm sure we'll see you for sure at Ag in Motion. Take care. Thanks, Darren.
Thank you.
Thanks, Fischer.
Thank you.
Great job.